This episode of Snack Size is brought to you by Snacks by Lala. Elevate your look with bold, long-lasting matte lipsticks and dazzling lip glosses. Whether you're on stage or on the go, Snacks by Lala delivers stunning color that lasts all day. Visit www.snacksbylala.com and treat yourself to a snack. Because you deserve it.
Hey Snacks, it's Lala! Welcome to Snack Size. I am thrilled to be here sharing this wonderful space with you, and I'm ready to take you on an exciting journey towards finding your passion and following your dreams. So whether you're discovering new interests, setting bold goals, or just looking for a dash of inspiration, know that every moment is worth celebrating and every dream is within reach. Our time together starts now. Hey Snacks! Welcome back to Snack Size, the podcast. And today, my incredible guest is a performer, producer, venue owner, and creative visionary behind some of the Twin Cities' most captivating nightlife experiences, particularly as the new owner of Volstead's Emporium, which is a speakeasy in uptown Minneapolis. Known for captivating audiences with her hypnotic movement style and unforgettable stage presence, our guest today is also an advocate for authentic representation, body liberation, building community, and taking big risks. Our conversation today is about art, community, reinvention, and building spaces where people can feel truly seen. Let's welcome to Snack Size, Bessie Snow. Hi, Bessie. Welcome to Snack Size.
Hi, Lala. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We are here in your fabulous establishment, Volstead's.
Thank you. Yes, we are.
I've really been enjoying this new adventure I've been on of like getting to do this in different places. And this has been one of my favorite places for such a long time.
Thank you.
Yes. And we're definitely going to talk more about that. But for those people discovering you for the first time, how would you describe who Bessie Snow is?
Oh, my goodness. All right. Bessie Snow is a burlesque performer at the core, now turned restaurant and bar venue owner as of October of 2025. But yeah, Bessie Snow was created out of the spirit of finding a persona to do burlesque through. That's the root of her.
Did you know you always wanted to do burlesque, or like what drew you into burlesque performance?
No, I didn't. I kind of stumbled into it in 2018. I was living in the Bay Area, California at the time, and I just really honestly wanted to move my body again. And I'm a theater kid, but as an adult, it's kind of hard to find like creative outlets, right?
Sure.
I honestly don't know where the thought came from, but something in me was like Google burlesque classes, and I did, and there happened to be a school. And so I went through that, and I had no idea it was this whole little subculture and industry. And here we are 8 years later,
Yes.
for good or worse. The bug bit me. But no, yeah, I definitely wasn't in my plan.
You wear a lot of hats in your life. You're a performer and a producer and a curator and now a venue owner and just anybody doing art as a storyteller. Which one of those things or which few of those things make you feel most alive in your life right now?
Make me feel most alive?
Yeah. What excites you? What's waking Bessie up in the morning?
I would say producer / venue owner.
Yeah.
I mean, to be in a position to have this little playground to basically do whatever I want is motivating. I think there's so much privilege in being able to have a space to experiment within. I think so often prior to this venture, I have all these ideas, but there's no place to place them. And that's kind of the issue a lot of artists will have in their life, right? Like, where can I execute this idea I have in my brain? Where can it live? And I am in this amazing position where I get to have a lot of my ideas have a home now.
So actually 8 years ago, so that would have been around the time you were starting burlesque, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did an interview with The Root and you spoke about wanting to feel seen and understood. With everything that you've done, do you feel closer to that now?
Absolutely. And I love that you found that interview. So some more context, I was married and I went through like a divorce and it wasn't a great marriage at all for many reasons, but that kind of, I think that specific time was another whole reset again of wanting to, feeling so vulnerable in so many ways, like contextually, but not in the ways that I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So I think finding burlesque in that time period was, again, a great home to be able to place those feelings. But also at the root of it, like, I don't like to therapize burlesque too much. I think it can be therapeutic for folks.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
oftentimes, like, for me, at the root of it is like the quality, the art of like being entertaining, right? And I think it's so fun that, I don't know, as a kid, I just love being naked. I always have prior to burlesque. I love being naked. That's just my thing. And so to be able to creatively do that, I think is awesome.
Yes. Was there ever a moment over the last 8 years when you think of your art and you realize that it was helping other people feel seen?
Yes, probably. I get that feedback. But honestly, I don't think it registers and stays with me because I think I disassociate a little bit when people say kind things to me.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think it's kind of something I'm working on. Like when someone compliments me, I've learned over the years to listen, and I'll take it. I say thank you, and I say take that. I won't like even rebuttal me like, oh, say a nice thing back anymore, until I receive it completely. But I guess, I still don't always know what kind of impact I'm having. I trust that it's positive, but in terms of, I guess in detail, I don't know what that looks like.
It's such a contrast for me because as a drag queen, I love compliments. I love it. I love it. I love when people tell me I look good. I love to hear it. Tell me again.
That's funny. Yeah. I don't know. So I talk about this a lot in the burlesque classes that I teach. So burlesque, we train our audiences on how to treat us.
Yeah.
Right. So in theory, you could be the worst performer ever, but the audience is going to clap for you no matter what.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Which inherently is a beautiful thing. They'll cheer for you. It's supportive. And I think there's beauty in that. But because of that, the artist in me that likes to be critiqued, I never know if people are truly being sincere. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so when
sense.
I say, when people in the context of burlesque, in terms of feedback as a performer, I've confidence in how I perform and I'm happy with where I'm at.
You have talked openly in all types of media that I've seen of you about queerness and body liberation through burlesque. I guess you kind of already talked about it, but is there anything that you would say that burlesque performance has shaped about your relationship with yourself?
I think burlesque is so much as a call and response art form, right? And so I think, kind of going back to what we were just talking about, I always say when I host, the more you give, the more we give, the more we give, the more you give, kind of a thing. I think something that I'm learning to do is, I'm so comfortable giving. It feels really good for me to exude and extend in that way. And what it's taught me is the art of receiving, the opposite of that, right? So, and the art of just like instilling your response and enjoying that response, it's the art of tea. So there's play in it. So if anything, this art form, this performance journey it's constantly reminding me to be in play in life.
Yes.
It's all about that for me.
And having fun. It's so important. I wanted to ask you before I asked you about some other things in your life, what misconceptions do you think that people still have about burlesque?
That's a hard question because there's industry and community, and I know there's probably overlap in drag too, or industry community. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions that can exist is that burlesque equals community,
I can say the same thing about drag.
Right?
I get it. Yeah.
It's like, just because you perform once or whatever it is, like, it's not a built-in community. It's also, there's a very fragile industry. It's only as alive as the folks who are producing shows to make it alive. And so in that sense, I think it's beautiful if you can find community and your people in burlesque, and I think that's possible. But I think anyone coming into it looking for that is going to be greatly disappointed. So in terms of misconception, I would say, like, we promote consent, safe spaces, all that, but oftentimes so much harm can happen in that space, and it's so sad. And so I like to prepare people to think that, you don't want to enter into it with your guard down. You're already coming into it getting naked on stage. You have to protect a lot of things if you're going to move forward in it. Yeah,
that makes sense. How did you find a sense of community?
Do trial and error. Yeah, you have to spend time with people outside of the thing you have in common. You can't just build community over just seeing each other at shows and stuff. It's like, are you showing up for each other when you're sick and you can't get food and you're dropping off food for them? That's how you build actual human connection, right? Yeah. And so, yes, I have found that here, but like anything, it takes time, and you kind of have to earn that trust in the same way that, like, people have to earn that from you, you know? Yeah.
Exactly. I want to shift to a different time in your life.
Yeah.
So after the lockdown in 2020, you made the decision to live full-time in a van.
Yep.
What inspired that?
At the root of it, I am a hippie. I'm an outdoorsy girl. I love, the river, the trees, and all of that. I think in terms of where I find myself truly, it's in that space. So van life really came about in this opportunity of, 2020 pandemic. It was the perfect time. My partner and I, we wanted to leave the Bay Area anyway.
Yeah.
We wanted a shift. And so we took the plunge to live in a van full time. And yeah, it was just to kind of shake things up a bit. I think something I know about myself, similar to this venture, taking over Volstead and doing this, is I am not afraid to take big leaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the worst that can happen is that it
doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out. And the thing is, if you never try, then you don't even know. So it's like, I don't know. I do like that about myself. I'm very kind of whimsical in that sense, and also a little psychotic and creative. That I'm like, whoa, we'll see what happens.
When you think about your time traveling, how long did you travel for?
We lived in the van full time for a year.
Okay.
And my plan was to live in it for 5 years, but then Blix, my partner, woke me up. We were visiting family here in Minneapolis, and they're like, we're going to look at some houses. And I'm like, can we even afford a house? And wait, we're in a house. It's our house on wheels. But, living on the road is rough, like on the body, and it is unsettling as much as it is exciting. So, it was nice to be able to plant some roots here.
Is there a moment or an experience that stays with you emotionally, or just any impact on your life from making that big leap to go on traveling? Anything. It can be fun too.
I think the thing that I remember the most is that I would have never flown to Mobile, Alabama on my own. But because I was driving through there, I got to experience it. Or Hot Springs, Arkansas, or, Lafayette, Louisiana. Yeah. All these places in the United States that I feel like, because I grew up in Los Angeles, and, when I tell people I moved here, they're like, why? Almost as if it's a bad thing. Yeah. And it's like, there's this interesting kind of ego, I think, that a lot of big city folks can have. I feel like, it kind of, the lesson that it taught me was don't live in assumption.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing you can do as a person, is live in assumption and assume something is the way it is. And also giving places and things a chance, And then geographically, that kind of was very symbolic to me. It's there's so much beauty and opportunity in a lot of different places. And here in Minneapolis, especially, it's I've been given so many different opportunities here because I've said yes to it and I've been open to it. But I think it's because I didn't prejudge it to be something already.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I
agree. Okay, so speaking of shows, your show, Appetit, just celebrated its 3-year anniversary.
Yes. Oh, wow.
So you started the show before you owned Volstead's, right? Mm-hmm. What inspired you to create it?
I really wanted to get into producing because in burlesque, you can't wait for someone to create what you want, And so what I really wanted was a good old bump and grind, improv-based, classic burlesque style show.
Yeah.
And that just didn't really exist, at least on the regular cadence here. I knew that I didn't want to do it at just some kind of normal bar scene. I knew I also didn't want it at a club. I didn't know this place existed until Diva Rose told me about it. And I knew wherever I wanted the show, I wanted it to feel like a movie set.
Yeah.
And so when I stumbled upon this place and saw it, I just when I think of old school burlesque and when you think of where it all started, this is the type of ambiance environment that I think of, right? An old jazz club and stuff like that. Yeah, I just wanted my hands in producing because I wanted to curate. And I really believe I could be a responsible curator and a responsible producer. And that was just it was my way of kind of leveling up even as a performer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting, because my questions that were next were about being a responsible curator and producer. What does that mean for you?
I think what it means to me is that you have a standard, right? And that standard can be whatever you decide you want it to be, and that you don't waver from it just because there are a lot of other moving parts to consider, right? Yeah. But within that, I think as a producer, because you have the power to platform people, it is very important who you platform.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I believe those people that I platform should be talented, right?
Yes.
And good at their craft.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then B, I think how we attribute talent and good also needs to be constantly challenged in our brains. Because in burlesque, you know, oftentimes what's considered good, beautiful, talented, or whatever is white skin, so white, thin, and, you know, like just decked out costume, and that's all you need or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think as a responsible producer, curator, I think, you know, I always ask myself the question, who am I forgetting about? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's such a good question to ask.
Who am I forgetting?
Wow.
Yeah. And it's hard though, because again, like, I think with my show specifically, there is a level of standard that it's like the qualifier isn't that you have experience getting naked on a stage. That's not the qualifier for my show. The qualifier for my show is, are you able to connect with people when you perform, you know, the art of tease? Have you invested in yourself as a performer, in your costuming, in your ability to be skilled at this art form or whatever? And like, at the end of the day, it's all subjective, right?
Right.
It really is.
Well, I think when you are a producer, you can tell who's trying and who's not.
Yes.
And who is just new, but wants it.
Which is good.
Yes, which is great.
Yeah. For me, I needed productions when I was new to be like, to have on my goal, like, I want to do that show. I want to be good enough to get asked to do that show and be invited to that show. And I always knew with Appetit, at least, or anything that I do, I want that. I want my shows to feel that way for new people, that it's a motivating thing for them, that it's a goal.
So you started the show here and now you own the place. What made you want to make that transition to venue ownership?
I don't know if want, but it was kind of a seed that was planted in my brain. The previous owner, who I appreciate, adore, you know, he built this place with his own two hands. This was his creative baby, and he did a great job. And he created so much magic here. You know, this place opened 10 years ago. It's been here a long time. It's gone through so many things well before I came on board.
The area's gone through so many things.
Exactly. And I think he wanted it to be taken by someone that I think understood the place in the way that I had learned to understand the place. So the seed of knowing that, like, this place was kind of at a standstill. I had that information that it was just waiting in the water. You know, it wasn't moving. And so, I don't know. I went on my road trip last summer for 6 weeks, and I just texted him and I was like, hey, would you ever sell this place? And he hit me back like, I don't know, 5 minutes later. He goes, what, you interested? And so the conversation kind of came from there. So it really came from me asking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Asking, you shall receive.
I mean, essentially. And as you know, I mean, in my stripper days, I've just learned the power of asking. It's like, hey, can I give you a dance?
Yeah.
$1,000. Whatever it is, you know, you ask. The answer you get is yes or no.
Yeah.
Maybe a maybe, but at least it's a maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. So now you own a speakeasy. I read a really interesting article when I was researching you about how, like, speakeasies are kind of needed to come out in more public to bring people in the doors. And I know that based on when you bought it, you have to be dealing with some of that. So how are you managing kind of like keeping the mystery? Because that's one of the things that makes this place magical, but also like you have to keep the doors open. So yeah.
I don't think the mystery has to come from it not being found. You know what I mean? I don't. Like, this is not a real speakeasy. We're not hiding from the police. I say the journey begins at the door now. You know, the journey doesn't have to begin before then, because it is a business. For it to be sustainable, we're in the age of social media and all of that. There's so many, the city is saturated with so many different experiences you have to do, and we're so unique, right?
Yes.
In some ways, like, we're in kind of a lane and on our own, but at the same time, like, if people can't find us,
then what's the point?
Then what's the point? And so, yeah, I think I tell people the experience begins at the door if you can find us still, because even if you know who we are, people still have a hard time finding us. So you'll still have your experience of mystery. And especially with the program, like the shows that I'm doing here, I think there's an element of mystery that's going to be in the shows that happen here. Like, what's going to happen next year, and keeping people interested in that.
Yeah. What do you have anything you want to share? That was actually my next question about the future of Volstead, or what's your vision?
I'm going to do a live theater dinner show, and I'm writing a play.
Oh, you're really?
Yes.
Is it? Are you able to talk about it? Is it?
I mean, yeah, in the sense it's like it's mine. So essentially, I want to do an immersive dinner show here.
Okay.
Where it's very much an ode to the vaudeville. So you have like burlesque performers, the jazz musicians, the comedians, the queens, tap dancers, the clowns, you know, just all these like sideshow.
Yeah.
And it's a play that I'm writing about essentially like, we're in a show. If we don't do well, our venue's going to close. My background is theater.
Yeah.
So like the theater kid in me wants to create an experience like that, where it's this all immersive show.
Yeah. That sounds absolutely awesome. So now we're going to move into just some fun, like fire round questions.
Okay.
If you could headline a dream burlesque show anywhere in the world, where would it be?
The first place that came to my first mind brain was New Zealand.
Okay.
My second was Japan, which is where I was born and from. Yeah. For some reason, New
Homecoming.
Zealand.
A homecoming.
Yeah, but New Zealand. Weird.
New Zealand. Okay. What song are you currently obsessed with?
Human Nature. Michael Jackson is yeah.
What is a backstage ritual that you have before performing?
Oh, I bring in my grandma. So Bessie is my dad's mother's name, and she was a jazz singer in New Orleans.
Oh,
yeah.
And you named yourself after your grandma?
Yes.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's the best name story. Like,
oh, really?
You should hear stories about drag queen names.
Really?
Like, girl, I was drunk and I just came up with it. And you're just like, I named myself after my grandma. That's so wholesome.
Yeah. Well, I never got to meet her. So it was like my way of connecting with her as her granddaughter, but as an artist too, you know? And then Snow is my middle name in Japanese is Yuki, and my grandmother on my mother's side named me Yuki.
Okay.
So
Yuki means snow?
Yuki means snow. So Bessie Snow is an ode to my grandmas, really. So anyway, to answer your question.
So classy.
My ritual is to connect with my grandmas and be like, you know, like, I hope I'm
Bring
an
them with
extension.
you.
Yeah, and I'm an extension of your legacy. Yeah.
Outside of nightlife, what brings you joy?
My dogs. Yeah. It's just because, being at home with my doggos, like, it grounds me into just keeping it simple.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think there's so many things in life that's so stressful and you can take too seriously. And for me, I think my dogs and just kind of my little cocoon at home reminds me of like, I don't need much. Everything is transient.
Yeah.
And, I will show up and do my best, but I can't do anything more than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So last question. I ask every single guest this. In your words, what is the secret to a happy and fulfilled life?
Well, for me, it's I practice myself all the time. I'll be in a bathroom or in front of any mirror and I look at myself and I see if I can have eye contact with myself.
Yes.
And it's to see if I'm okay with seeing what I see back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there are times in my life where it makes me so uncomfortable to do that. There are times when like I can be in front of it forever. There are times where I need to shift away. And so I think I know I'm doing well when I can look back at myself and just witness myself in that moment for however long. But other than that, have people around you who will be honest with you and who will tell you the hard things you don't want to hear.
Exactly.
Like, honestly, like I always tell my employees here, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. And as someone who's interested in growing, I need to be shown things and reflected things back to me. This was so fun.
Yes.
I love that you're doing this. Thank you for creating this space for me to share.
Absolutely. If people want to follow you.
Yeah, you can follow Volstead on Instagram or at Madam Bessie Snow. That's me on personal Instagram. But yeah.
Does Appetite have a regular rotation?
Appetite is every second Thursdays of the month. And then we have a new live band funk burlesque show that's every fourth Thursdays of the month.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well,
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To the snacks listening, be safe, love one another. And in the meantime, go be fabulous. Bye.
Period.
Hey Snacks! I hope you enjoyed this episode of Snack Size the podcast, and since I know you don't want to miss out on the party, you can head on over to www.snacksizepodcast.com to catch up on all of the episodes. This episode was brought to you by a grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board. Until next time, go out into the world and remember that you are fabulous.